Welcome to Collaborative Connections podcast sponsored by KLM Consulting, Marketing, and Management. This podcast is designed for small business owners and entrepreneurs looking to grow, streamline, and succeed. I'm your host, Kelly Lorenzen, business owner and passionate advocate for small businesses. Running a business can feel overwhelming, but you don't have to do it alone. On this show, we bring together industry experts, fellow entrepreneurs, and thought leaders to share insights, strategies, and real life success stories from marketing and business operations to building powerful partnerships. We cover the tools and tactics that help small businesses thrive. So, whether you're launching, scaling, or looking for fresh ideas, you're in the right place. Let's dive into today's episode and start building something amazing together. Welcome to episode 49. I can't believe I've been doing it that long. I have three amazing business owners with me that I cannot wait for you to meet and hear all of their amazing wisdom along the way. A lot of us have been in business a long time and had a lot of experiences. So I will start with our first guest, Mona Amini. Dr. Amini, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me today.
Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, your background, where you came from, and what you're up to now.
Sure. So I am a almost native Phoenician, came to Scottsdale, Arizona when I was about a year and a half old. And this is home for me, the Metro Phoenix area. Went to medical school, returned, and established just my everything about medicine and my career here in the valley, and currently have my own private concierge wellness practice, psychiatry practice called Mon Vie Mind Wellness in North Scottsdale, and also consult, do some administrative work for facilities in and out of Arizona.
You are a medical director and wear many hats to a lot of things.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. Pamela Brooks, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about you and your background.
So I'm also a Phoenix native, and I have a background in mental health. I've done community mental health. I've worked in facilities. I currently also work in a transplant center, and my newest adventure has been creating my own practice. So I do telehealth and I do one-on-one therapy with adults.
So exciting. New adventures are always fun. Thank you so much for being on with us. Olenka, welcome to the show. I didn't want to say your last name wrong, so you are going to say.
I love it. It's okay. I can be Olenka like Madonna.
Yeah, that's right. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, my name is Olenka Cullinan, and there is a reason I'm on the show with two mental health practitioners, because I am a consultant to female business owners, and we all need all the help we can get. I am a founder and CEO of I Start First. It's a business consultant practice for female business owners, ranging somewhere from 2 years all the way to them building their massive enterprises. And then I also work with large corp and work with their CEOs and C-suite teams as well on building out female leadership. I am not a native Phoenician. My accent definitely did not come from Texas. I was born and raised in Eastern Europe, but Phoenix is definitely home now. I've been here now for 26 years, I think, as of this year. So thanks for having me.
Oh, we met probably 15 or 20 years ago, I think.
I know.
We've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show. So I always like to start with a little fun rapid fire questions just to get your juices flowing, because we always want to share insights, tips, tools, things we've learned along the way in our journeys so that other small businesses owners can not have to struggle and have ways to help. So first, ocean or mountains?
Ocean.
Mountains.
Ocean. Yeah, me ocean for sure. One business tool that you can't live without?
My calendar.
Mm-hmm.
iPhone.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I'm going to be very cliche and say AI.
Ooh, there you go. Yep. Yeah, I would agree with you. The iPhone is, I can go anywhere in the world and still be attached to business, right? Good news and bad news. What's your go-to mantra or mindset shift when things go tough and when things get tough in business?
Give yourself permission.
I love
And
that.
insert any adjective or verb or noun, whatever you'd like.
I love that. Pamela, what about you?
I think just keep doing the same things, keep doing the right things, moving a quarter of an inch at a time instead of trying to think I have to do all of this in one day.
Yes, do not try to eat the elephant, right?
Mine is skills are learnable, success is learnable too.
Oh, I like that. Well, that is a good mantra for you.
Absolutely.
My coined phrase is do what you love and outsource everything else.
I love it. Yes.
So now we're going to dive into some insights and trends in business ownership. It just helps business owners sharing our journeys. And so I wanted to know, based in, you guys are both, Pamela and Mona are both in mental health. What are you seeing among professionals and business owners right now in the mental health space?
I can answer first if you wouldn't mind. I think that especially in a lot of my high achievers and execs or retired execs right now, there is a lot of anxiety about where the future is going to hold. And that future can be in just the next 30 days. What is society and the economy and all of these trends going? And not really having the foresight into that. And so it's creating this perpetual anxiety, nervousness, this kind of panic. And I think it's just navigating that journey right now with them and holding their hand through that process.
It's so nice that they have people like you guys. I was teasing you the other day about you never be out of a job because we all
ups and downs at all times, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Pamela, what about you?
I just think about with some of my clients, it's trying to balance everything. Is they just feel like there's so much on their plate right now. How do I get my kids to practice and to school and do the homework and the dinner and show up and be the best I can at work, especially with entrepreneurs? I've had mothers tell me that they barely got any sleep because they were up trying to do everything after putting the kids to bed.
Yeah. Olenka, in your work post-pandemic, are you seeing a trend a certain ways that's similar to that?
Oh, for sure. And honestly, it's probably my favorite trend ever because I feel like female business owners are finally starting to realize that living at the state of burnout 98% of the time is not an honorable thing, right? And they're finally claiming that space of saying, I can be all the things, but I don't need to be all the things at once. And I think that's where, again, Mona and Pamela can also testify to that. So to me, it's definitely been such an amazing trend that female businesses specifically are starting to understand that you can have balance and build a super successful business.
Absolutely, right. And they can call it whatever they want to call it, right? Balance or integration, all things integrated in your life. You can call it whatever you want, but it is possible. It just takes a lot of work, just like relationships take a lot of work, just like businesses take a lot of work. Maintaining your self-care that you talk about all the time, Mona, and I am a huge proponent of self-care and just making it a thing in your calendar, to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, that you're having all those things and written down in your calendar. What would you do? There's one thing, I can't live without my calendar. You said that. Okay, maybe it's the calendar. So now we'll move into your business journey, little key lessons. So I'll start with you, Mona. A pivotal challenge you overcame in your business journey, and how did it shape your growth?
There were many.
Yes,
there were many. I think we can all testify to that exactly. But I think the pivotal moment that was my breaking point were a few things that happened, and it was the apex of my life was really around the time that I was about to turn 40. And it wasn't that, oh my God, I'm turning 40. It was, oh my God, I am turning 40. It was more of an aspect of optimism and a drive to change and just not feel as settled and happy and content in my roles and what I was doing, and because it wasn't feeling like it was aligning with my purpose and what I wanted to do in the mental health arena. And so that just shifted my mindset entirely, and gaining the confidence to go out on that journey on my own. Olenka was a big part and a very pivotal role in that, as well as you, Kelly. And so these are really amazing, amazing strides that we have in formations of communities of women, and actually finding that and stepping into that and learning that there's so much more opportunity around there. So many different aspects, and pretty much I think knowing and learning that journey is not an isolated journey was a big point for me.
That's huge. And I know I've heard you talk before about in medicine, especially being a female in medicine and getting knocked down so many times, that you probably took that 40 as like, sweet, now I'm gonna do whatever I want, however I want to.
Yes.
Right. That's amazing. Pamela, what about you?
I'm fortunate to be in a family of different entrepreneurs. And as we were talking about before the show just now, it's not the same thing. Starting a business, advertising, selling a product. In mental health, we're not selling a product. We're selling a lifestyle. We're selling our relationships with ourselves, with each other, with clients. And I think just understanding, the people to connect with, and not getting smacked down, and being hard on yourself when someone doesn't send you referrals. And so just learning the type of people who do value you and valuing what you are doing and providing to the public.
And connecting and staying connected with them, right? Yeah, I love that. A challenge you overcame, Olenka, that along the way?
Oh, many. I can relate to both ladies. I would say for me, it's really breaking down the belief, and I think we're still a lot of women still struggle with that. But for me, it was definitely breaking down the belief that the amount of time you spend on your business somehow, equates the amount of money you make in your business. That is not the case for everybody listening. It is not the case. And really understanding that it's the intention, right? It's like you said, whether you call it balance or intention or laser focus or really like aligning. I know Mona loves that word of being in alignment with who you are. And for me, it was massive moment from one of my mentors who said, let's make an experiment, and you're going to get into what we now call the soft life, and see what happens with your business, and just watching it progress and watching me change and becoming a role model in the process, first of all, for my daughter and other women. That has been probably the most defining moment, I would say.
Way cool. And having that mentor say that to you in that moment, that's why we need coaches and we need mentors and consultants and everybody around us to we can't be in a silo, right? We say in motherhood, it takes a village. Well, it's the same thing in business ownership, right? It takes a whole community for all of us. Mona, how are clients' needs evolving, especially around mental health and emotional resilience? That those words are becoming more mainstream, luckily, but not enough, right? So are you seeing their needs evolving?
I am. And this was the basis of the reason why I started the practice in the light that I did. And I'm really excited because what we saw in especially mental health historically was more reactive. It was about reactive care, reactive medicine, reactive medications, reactive therapy. You're struggling right now, so boom, 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 this is what you need for these many sessions a week or months. Now it's more preventative, it's more lifestyle, it's more longevity type. And what they're leaning more into, that at least we're seeing more and more of, is again the wellness trend. Wow, I am navigating a lot in my life, and it doesn't matter the season. I can be a teenager leaning into my adolescent years and now young adulthood, and I don't know how college is going to be like, and I'm really anxious about this. So I want somebody to help me through that path. So we're seeing a lot of these individuals start their mental health journeys earlier.
Ooh, that's so good.
And I think also the recognition and the support of individuals out there. I myself like to be a bit of a proponent on social media about education and about just wellness trends, and also not being reactive. By the time you're reactive and you're putting out that fire, unfortunately, it's not that it's too late, it's that we have to do a different kind of treatment plan at that point. But if we had some more preventative measures and you were adjusting your lifestyle and your diet, and we are talking all about balance here, my focus is more about wellness. And so whole life wellness means some days you're going to be more focused on your career and the business. Some days you want to be focused on yourself and your family and your spouse. And that's going to pivot. You're going to have really great days. You're going to have really poor days. But how are you going to take that journey? And how are you going to be graceful with yourself on that? And so we're leaning a little bit more into that in the mental health field.
Especially in your practice. I love that you combine the wellness integrated into it, and and talk about diet and talk about you give IV therapy and all these things that most in medicine, and historically in medicine, I come from a medical family. It's always been reactive, and we were some of the first. My family was some of the first to bring a preventative measure for something that people suffer from, and so but it was like to try to explain that to people, like we need to be preventative, and it's just hard. But at least now they're starting to feel like, okay, self-care is talked about more, wellness is talked about more. So I love that you offer all of that in your practice. It's really exciting. Cool. Yeah. What about you, Pam?
I'm going to agree with Mona when she talks about prevention. I actually had a client share with me recently that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of treatment. Mm-hmm. And so really what I was telling my client earlier this morning, how important is you incorporate everything into your day-to-day life. And unfortunately for her, she's a little bit older. Like she's, the more middle age group. And so she's been living with these traumas for years. And now she's shifting gears. So I'm seeing an interesting trend where there's a lot of, let's say, middle-aged people who are now finally feeling comfortable talking about their trauma, talking about the challenges they've experienced. And I really credit that to a lot of people who are doing the work out there to destigmatize mental health.
Yeah.
So that for me is huge. And then I love the college students who experience something and they are the quickest ones to get into therapy because they see the value.
Oh, that's so good.
And so for me, I think about the societal trends of it's not such a terrible thing. And then recently I was in New York City and I had a friend who shared, oh, there's my therapist office. And I looked at her and like, it was as if she was saying, there's my hairdresser.
I love that.
So I just think that people are more motivated. And also because of telehealth, I'd say that's the best thing to come from the pandemic was in my experience.
Yeah.
It's accessible. You work with high performing professionals who don't have the time to sit in traffic or a waiting room or walking through the hallway. So they can turn off one screen, turn on for an hour with you, and it's not messing up their entire day or their productivity. In fact, actually, it's helping them.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Are you seeing a shift in clients' needs, when it comes to like emotional intelligence and anything post-pandemic?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's chime in with both of you. First of all, thank you for what you do in destigmatizing, because my daughter is 14 years old and she's been with therapist, aka mental performance coach, because she's cool and she's a teenager, so they have to have cool names, right? But seeing her what she can do at 14 and having a teenager who knows how to ground, who knows how to assess her emotions and be a word of peace among all her friends has been absolutely astounding. And I literally tell her daily, I'm like, you don't understand the level that you have at 14. I wish I had it, and it took me years to get where you are today. So thank you both for that. But absolutely, I just in general feel that we're destigmatizing help for business owners, and especially for female business owners, because we all had this like real life experiences of I have a super cape, I'm supposed to do everything on my own. I am stuck in this problems and I'm the only one who has them, right? When in reality, we all know that we all experience these problems. We all have these challenges. We all sit alone some days and we want to, lock in the closet with a bottle of choice. but in reality, I'm finally starting to see, especially I feel like post-pandemic, when we all had ability to go inside of our homes, to sit there like with ourselves, whether we like that mind space or not, right? And we had to face things of saying, I can't do this alone. Mm-hmm. And this loneliness, like almost like artificial loneliness that was created out of pandemic, I think pushed everyone into asking for help more openly, mm-hmm. which I love. And also, we all know that, and I've been around some extraordinary successful people, especially in the last 3 years. Look at any successful person you're oohing and eyeing over, right? They're screaming about how many coaches they have, how many specialists they have, how many support systems they have. They're literally yelling about that. And we are somehow scared to say, I have a therapist, I have a coach, I have a consultant. Mm-hmm. Like, what? It's complete opposite. And so I am really loving this trend where we're finally coming out and saying, I want help, I need help, and I want my village.
I love that. Oh, I'm so glad. It makes my heart happy. And teaching the next generation the same thing early. It's really, really cool. Speaking of our younger selves, what would your Mona 10-year-old self be proud of? Something from your journey?
I think she would be really proud of what she has today. Just in general, in terms of what she thought of as a medical doctor and in terms of that career. The 10-year-old me was a pediatrician in her mind. Thankfully didn't go that route, went more of the mental health psychiatry route, but just so happy with her partner in life, her children, her family, her people, really her village.
That's great. Pamela, what about you? What would your 10-year-old self be proud of?
I think I would be really proud of my relationships, the business relationships, the friendships, and the goals. I've always been a to-do list goal girl. And I was asked by a friend recently, like, how is it going? And I just was full of smiles because I'm working towards the goals every day. And as a kid, that was also a dream.
Oh, I love that. What about you, Olenka? Along the way, what was a success you had that your 10-year-old self would love?
I'm going to disclose something that I've never publicly disclosed in a podcast, actually. So I've been horribly bullied all from my middle school. I was really small. I was like, everybody thought I was anorexic. I just didn't like food. I still don't. Not that much, at least. And I think I'm really, like, my 10-year-old me would really be proud of that I made it my mission to break the Mean Girls Club. And I made it a point to build a community of women who are supportive and loving, and they really are givers by nature. And I'm really, really proud of that.
Me too. You're going to make me cry. Yeah. Oh, I really love that. Yeah. And it's good, I think, for us to go back, like, speaking of the trauma, and hash that out and get help for that, because we all too often you get stuck in those old cycles, and think that somebody's still bullying you today when you're thinking, wait, no, whoops, that was a trigger, So it's so amazing that you guys are, a resource for people who have that stuff. I've had so much trauma help that when I went through breast cancer, I was so ready for it because I didn't have any old stuff that was telling me I couldn't do it, that I had my team in place. I had everybody around me. I'd done all the prep work, professional and personal development along the way to be ready. You're like, okay, preventative. There you go. I'm ready. What's the biggest lesson you've learned about sustainable growth, right? People talk about 10xing your business and la. I've always been a proponent of sustainable growth that you can handle as a business owner. Is there something, a lesson in there?
I think that it really depends on the individual. I think sustainable growth can mean something very different to even each of us at this table. Yep. So for me, I can speak for myself, and sustainable growth for me has been just keeping a very positive mindset. And again, having a balance of what shapes me, what provides me with a servitude, with gratitude, and really leaning into those things while I'm building something and building this grand vision with all of these other, things that I have to execute and all of these other duties that I have as a mother, as a spouse, as a business owner, as a leader, as an educator, and understanding that you have to give yourself grace. You need to give yourself grace. Like Olenka had said, that we can't build anything on this ship on our own. Like, there has to be a team, and understanding that there are people put on this earth to help you and to help one another, and leaning into that has been super important for me. It's all about the people around you, and understanding that you're not a one-man show. There's no such thing.
And you can have sustainable growth with all those people.
Yeah,
It's the
can.
second you have
Yes.
people help that, on your team to help you, right?
Yeah.
Is you can go so much further.
So much and quicker. You're not doing things 5-10 years down the road. You're doing it within a year or two, if you're really sustained and growing
That's right.
on that and goal driven.
Along the way, any lessons you've learned about growth in business or yourself, personal, professional growth?
For me, when I think about business, I also think relationships. I'm convinced that relationships run the world. That, we're not talking about networking like speed dating, that's not effective, but really creating meaningful relationships, finding the people who inspire you, finding the people who believe in you, and also making sure you're continuously putting yourself in those rooms. Because as everyone has said in here, we're not a one-man show. We can't do any of this on our own entirely. So it's, who do you believe in, who believes in you, who supports you.
I love that. Olenka, what about you?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to echo both of them, and also utilizing this exact verbiage, which is I need help with. I force my clients to do that. I force my friends to do that. I had to go through a whole learning curve of saying these words, because you see, I've seen it so many times, especially with women. We'll use every line imaginable outside of this exact verbiage. We'll say, hey, have you thought, or maybe, or have you wondered? And instead of going to someone, and, I really have shifted my mindset significantly, and that's to resonate both with Pam and Mona. There is such strength in asking for that help, and you're giving people a gift of actually supporting you for whatever that is. And I really feel that once you start using it daily and weekly, it will absolutely, and that's to relationships, and that's to being grounded in your, process. But I absolutely think it'll change your life.
I love that. In speaking of collaboration and relationships, we've said that over and over again. Is there a recent collaboration or partnerships that's led to good results or growth? Mona, start with you.
In this journey, I can't tell you how many of those have existed and have fallen in my lap, honestly. So there's some really exciting things coming about for me in the very, very near future that I'm really excited about. Lots of different collaborations, honestly, just not only with my practice space, but really with the social media and the not your typical psychiatrist space, which is kind of in a way, almost like an alter ego of mine, where it's more shifting into the destigmatization of mental health and showing the world that a psychiatrist is not, and like a figure that you feel is judging you, baggy suited, sitting in a corner and having you have no interaction whatsoever or respectful of you in your time. I think that the shift has just leaned into a different world for me. And through that, and through seeing the nature of who I am, I think just different opportunities of collaborations have just come into existence. And I really am very, very mindful of speaking your mind, but also speaking things into existence and manifestation.
And you are really good at that.
Yes.
You have a lot of cool collaborations for sure. I love all your Instagram and all your stuff that you do. Pamela, what about you? A collaboration or partnership that you've had recently that you love?
I just think that being part of different groups, we just meet. So I feel like each time you're more inspired than the next. Hearing from experts in their field, and then having the opportunities to be on their podcast like this, such as with other physicians. And it's so inspiring to learn what other people are doing. My most exciting thing I'm doing next month is I'm going to be doing collaboration with a pediatrician. Aww. And the two of us get to help parents, because parents are caring for everyone else, but not themselves. So that's one of the things I'm doing in the coming months.
I love that. I always talk about referral partnerships. Part of your business development, I say in quotes because everybody calls that something different, is you need to have referral partners and collaborate on things to build, again, the sustainable growth. So that's really cool. What about you? A collaboration or partnership that you've just helped blow you up?
Yeah, I'm having a few pinch me moments. I'm definitely a huge believer in manifestation, speaking into existence, paired with action, paired with relationships. So everything that ladies was just talking about, so my big thing that's coming up, I'm going to Ireland next week, literally on Saturday, and we're going to be hosted by Google Ireland. I just got introduced to one of the chief strategy officers for Mars, Candy, and he wrote me this little blurb about my book, and I definitely teared up.
Yeah, I would think so.
So this definitely, and the funny thing, it's exactly what, Pamela was talking about. Speaking of relationships, I was introduced into this group by my mentor to just work with a CEO. And when I started conversation with him, because I'm genuinely curious, I genuinely believe that when you build relationships, it's not for networking, it's for relationships working. What a special concept. It's kind of like a joke I've made that social media is meant to be social, so not just going on there and throwing stuff. But and because of that, I actually in the conversation said, what do you actually need? I know what the introduction was for, but what do you actually need? And that opened a whole new conversation that opened me coming in on board. And now, I'm going to be in the room with billion-dollar companies in Ireland. So it's that. It's exactly ask for what you need, but also genuinely serve people what is that they need, so you can match that, and then magic happens.
Oh, I love that. And look, if I wasn't a part of the No Women, I wouldn't have met you, Mona, and Pamela. If I wasn't a part of the Tempe Chamber, I wouldn't have met you 20 years ago.
I know.
It takes going and getting that. I was doing it more for building, I always say you want to put yourself in a room with people smarter than you, right? I hire people smarter than me on purpose, and so I was just going for personal and professional development. I thought, well, I don't know, this is 20 something years ago of owning businesses. I'm like, I think I just need to go be a part of these groups, and amazing humans have come out of that, and collaborations and partnerships. So I'm a huge proponent of that. Can you believe we are almost out of time? It's crazy. It goes by so fast. But I'd like to have you give some insight, some aha moment in business ownership for anybody else who's listening, who's on the struggle bus, people say, right? We've all been there. Is there a key takeaway that you can give business owners?
I say continue on your journey, continue on your path, because only you know where that light is at the end of the tunnel. And stride into that room with confidence, wherever room it is. Be your genuine self. That authenticity does shine. We throw a lot of that right now out in social media and the internet and everywhere. But authenticity is really genuinely how you differ from everybody else. Lean into that, and it can be very capitalizing for you.
Life-changing.
Life-changing. Yeah.
I love, you guys will have to follow Mona. She talks about her EDM and all her music stuff, and right, not your typical psychiatrist stuff. I love all of that. So showing that gives people a sense of who, not just who they're buying from, but who they're going to have help them, right? So that's a big deal. Is there something along your journey that you could, an insight that you wish you knew before, maybe, or an aha moment?
I'd say probably 2 take-home points. One of them is really taking care of yourself every step of the way. And we were actually at a meeting last night talking about this. How don't be afraid to say, I do this for myself and I do this for myself. And it's what keeps you at your best. And people are inspired by that. Additionally, no one else can be you. It's most of authenticity is that you do your job the best you can because there isn't another one like you. And people will find you for exactly what they're looking for. I have a recent referral and I may not be exact in my head. I'm not exactly that specific expertise in that part of therapy, but they are so drawn to what I as a human bring to the table that even if it's not my typical client, they are adamant that I am the right fit. And that for me is awesome because I'm being me, doing my journey, doing what I feel I'm best at, and they're picking up on that.
I love that. Oh. What about you, Olenka? You have so many, so much wisdom. It's hard to pick one.
Yeah, I'm literally like going through my deck in my head right now. I'm like, which one? I would say consistency over talent any day because talent, there's no shortage of it. We all have our own talents. We all have our special gifts, but it's so easy sometimes to get into the dooms and glooms and just walk or quit or get very small. I don't think women quit as much. I think women get very small though. They almost like try to blend in because they're scared. And my invitation is stay consistent, stay visible, because that visibility is what's going to drive you. And that goes right along the authenticity that Mona was talking about. And my second piece is definitely self-sacrifice is not a form of self-care. You have to give up on that trend of grind and hustle endlessly, and nobody gets trophies over that. In your business and your relationships and your loved ones will never thrive over that. So make it a point.
Take care of yourself. That is for sure. Absolutely. I know that I waited way too long to, and now luckily I went through the breast cancer, I think, to help others say you need to consistently do the preventative measures, go have the test. I was too busy, and waited way too long. And so it is necessary for all of us to take care of ourselves. I don't have the money. I don't have time. Believe me, the amount of doctors and surgeries I had is so much more than just going for your mammogram and ultrasound. So I will say 100% to take care of yourself. I love that. So where can people find you online? And tell the audience your full name and your business name and where everybody can find you.
Dr. Mona Amini, and website is monaAminiMD.com. I'm on Instagram, mona.amini.md, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it. If you search my name, you'll find me.
And your last name is spelled Amini.
Correct. Yes.
Pamela, where can people find you? And tell us the name of the business again.
Brooks Counseling AZ. So brookscounselingaz.com. And I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook, Instagram.
Yep, as we all need to be, I know. It's a necessary evil. Clients go, oh my God, I am so thankful you took that off my plate. I cannot stand doing that anymore. Go ahead.
Yes. So for me, it's istartfirst.com. You can find everything there. And under my name, if you just Google Olenka, and I start first with it, there's always going to be pages to read and information. But I would say I pretty much live between LinkedIn and Instagram.
Thank you so much for today's conversation. I really appreciate your time. I know we are all very busy professionals, but I think it's important to pass along the insights, to pass along the wisdom to other business owners. So we hope today's conversation has sparked ideas for how you can grow, streamline, and or scale your business. And no, you don't have to do it alone. At KLM Consulting, Marketing, and Management, we specialize in helping business owners like you simplify operations, improve marketing strategies, and build strong partnerships so you can focus on what you do best. That's why our coined phrase is do what you love and outsource everything else. Until next time, happy connecting.